Hello, my butterflies. We are back once again with another wonderful episode of Butterfly Chats. So, the Butterfly Chats is a podcast dedicated to the chronically ill and their care team. I am your host, Latoya, and I am here to guide you through your journey with stories, insights, and discussions that will inspire, educate, and empower you on your chronic pain journey. But before we get started, as usual, there's just a little bit of housekeeping. So there's a disclaimer. Please note that I and my guest are not medical professionals. We are current pain warriors with chronic pain. I am not a licensed medical professional, and the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. I am not advising you to change any future or current medical treatments or plans and that you may be on, and it is crucial that you consult your own medical team before trying or making any changes to your current or future medical plans. So, now that that's out of the way, let's get on with the show. I have my hopefully future friend, Jewel Dukes. Um, and as most of us, you know, I discovered her on Instagram and I pretty much instantly fell in love with her. I was came across her page. I was listening to her on another podcast and I was listening to her story and I could have sworn she was like talking about me. I'm like, I mean, like it was almost exactly the same, and it was just, and it's very sad that a lot of us have the same path. There's no differences, but the just the unfairness is the similarities, and it shouldn't be that way. But just listening to the way she was treated and how she's had to basically educate herself on all of the things she's had to go through. Um, it caused me, just to go to her page and just to kind of see what was going on. And it inspired me to kind of reach out to her. And she is, just like her name says, a jewel. She is a very nice person. I love her already. So, Jewel, just tell the butterflies a little bit more about you, your journey, um, what causes you to advocate and speak out, and all the things.
Okay, my name is Jewel. On Instagram, I go by at the Lipedema Cushy, and on Facebook, I just go by Jewel Dukes. I am a Cushing's disease warrior, rare disease. Um, I'm actually in remission from Cushing's disease, and I also have adrenal insufficiency along with lipedema and several other comorbidities. You know how it goes; they kind of tend to
Hmm.
pile up on us after a while.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, my journey started. Well, as far as lipedema goes, I've had lipedema since I started fertility treatments with my son
Mm.
in 2017. I was trying to get pregnant. Come to find out, it was probably because of my Cushing's disease that I was having issues getting pregnant.
Mm.
And so I went through a round of fertility treatments. And I didn't notice it at the time, but I just thought I had, big thighs.
Hmm.
And like most of us do, we're like, okay, well, my thighs are a little big. Hey.
Yeah.
So going along the way, in 2021, I got diagnosed with Cushing's disease. I had pituitary surgery for them to remove a tumor that was on my pituitary gland. And after that surgery, my body just kind of fell apart. Um,
Mm.
I got gained a lot of weight. Well, I gained a lot of weight before the surgery. But then I noticed I had this little fat patch over my knees. And I went to my
Okay.
orthopedic doctor and I'm like, well, what is this? And he's like, well, I don't know. Okay. So
Great.
so I
Okay.
went to another orthopedic doctor, right? Because I didn't know if it had something to do with my knees or what. I didn't know what it was. So
Hmm.
I went to another orthopedic doctor, to get a second opinion. and he didn't know. So I was in physical therapy, and I just so happened to mention it to my physical therapist. And I'm like, hey, I have this fat patch thing over my knees. My thighs are huge. Do you know what could be going on? And he said, well, there's a lymphedema clinic in the hospital, and get your doctor to refer you to the lymphedema clinic. So I did that. I got a referral, and the lady was just kind of a butthole to me. She's like, yeah, you don't have lymphedema. You have what's called lipedema stage 2, and we'll give you compression, but there's nothing else we can do for you. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, well, thanks again. So they did prescribe
Right?
me, right? They did prescribe me a medical grade compression. It's my insurance.
Okay.
You there you go. My
Uh-oh.
insurance um did cover it. So I was excited about that.
Okay.
But then I got on Facebook into these groups about lipedema once I figured out, what it was. So I met a lot of knowledgeable people on Facebook about, and they were just teaching about what we can do to help, medicines we can take or supplements we can take that'll help with lipedema. So I went out and got all the stuff. Like I want to take Mucidex, I want to do this, I want to do the vibration plate, I want to do all this because I want to see if I can get rid of this
Mhm.
lipedema. Well, you can't get rid of it. It's there.
Mhm.
So I went back to my doctor because they suggested I get a pneumatic pump. Went back to my doctor, said, hey, I need this pump to get, see if it helps with my lipedema. And it did help for a little while, but I have low back pain. So the pump started to aggravate my back. So
Mhm.
at a certain point I had to stop using it because it was hurting more than it was helping. So now I'm just in a stage. I did go see a plastic surgeon because the only way to get rid of lipedema is to remove it.
Mhm.
So I went to see a
Yeah.
plastic surgeon, and he told me, well, you're on too many steroids. Your risk would be too high. You could catch
Mhm.
an infection, and I will not do your surgery.
Mhm.
And he told me, he said, I'm so convinced that he's like, there's too high of a chance that you would die from this surgery. And he said, if you went to another doctor, I would testify against them if something happened to you.
Well, dang.
Right. So
I
at that point,
mean,
I'm like, well,
can you help a sister? Like, I mean, did he give you
so
any other? Okay, okay, fine. So you
nope,
don't want me to
no
have surgery?
other,
Fine. Okay. What else?
no, exactly nothing. Pretty much wear your compression, do your pump, and get off your steroids, and then call me. Pretty much. So
And if you were to
when
get off
I
your steroids, what would happen?
I would die.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So that's not an
simple
option.
choice. Great.
Me getting off my
Oh, okay,
steroids,
great.
it's not an option.
Oh, case closed.
Right.
Great. These people. These people. Just
Yeah. So back in
continue,
April,
please. I can't.
right,
I can't.
right. So back in April, I went to this conference, Fat Disorder FDRS had a fat disorders conference for lipedema, lymphedema, and Derkham's disease. So I went to this conference, and they had all of these professionals and all of these doctors there. And I go to asking questions, of course, because I need some more opinion. So I asked one of the doctors, I
You need
say, hey,
answers
do
now.
you
Yesterday. Last week.
right, right. Since I got all these people in this one place, I'm gonna ask my question. So I asked one doctor, I said, do you think cortisol affects lipedema? And her response to me was, sure, why not? Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, but whatever. So I asked another doctor, I said, hey, This is what I have going on. Would you perform surgery on me? He said, yeah, if you're willing to take the risk. And I'm like, I was confused. I was speechless because I'm like, you would tell me to take the risk of me getting an infection, me doing all of this, knowing that I'm on steroids. And you would say, yeah, just, as long as you sign a waiver, like saying that if something
Mhm.
happens, it's not my fault.
You wouldn't sue me. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, what in the world is wrong with these people? But I'm like, okay. And then my friend and I was talking to one doctor, and I just completely stressed him out with my story. He he got so stressed out, he walked away and went to the bar. Okay, because he was
He didn't say, I need a drink now.
he needed a
Double
drink.
on the
Yes,
rocks.
I was like, my friend and I, we bust up laughing. We stressed that man out because I'm like, yes, I have Cushing's disease, and I'm on this, and I'm on that, and he's like, oh my goodness, you just have a lot going on. We're gonna, and he just walked away. He didn't say bye.
Like, I ain't signed up for this.
He's like, I need a drink, and he just walks away.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's been my journey with lipedema. Like, it is the worst thing ever because people look at you like, oh, you're just overweight. I'm like, no, I have a problem. I have a disease that's causing me to be overweight. And another aspect of it is when I see women, out and about, especially Black women,
Hmm.
and I'm like, oh my God, you can see the clear signs of lipedema. And I'm like, they don't even know that that's a disease. They don't know that they need to you're not going to be able to lose that by trying to diet and exercise your way out of it.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a sad reality. I try to tell women about it, but a lot of them don't really like taking that
Yeah.
advice, I guess. So
I
what
mean,
I
because
started
we've
doing was,
been, yeah, I mean, we've
go
been
ahead.
so brainwashed almost, basically, that, it's your fault. It's
Yeah.
just push away from the table. Just eat less, move more, drink water, lettuce root, grass, I mean, you know, s- yeah, and unless you have been or are on this chronic illness journey and see the stories and then walk in the stories, you wouldn't. Like, if you
No.
were healthy other than being overweight, you I can see how I wouldn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I mean, I've had gastric
Right.
bypass. I mean, I had it 18 years ago. I lost 208 pounds and still
Wow.
had my big forearms. I still had the big butt, still had the big thighs.
Mhm.
And I lost I had like small stomach. Everything was small, but like even like my stomach, like below my belly button, still had the protruding below my stomach. Me still
Yeah.
thinking, well, just let me, get in the sauna, sweat it out. Let me do the gym more. Let me lift
Me wrap
weights. Let me
myself
drink,
up in some.
yeah. I was like, I mean, I was doing two a days and like, just doing the most, and just I'm like, okay, like just kind of living with it,
Yeah.
but and of course, like now, it's like I've been on so many. I mean, oh gosh, my medical journey is crazy, but um, I can only imagine, like, because I know how I felt, but
Yeah.
tell us how you feel, like emotionally, like on a daily basis.
Oh my goodness, it's frustrating.
Hmm.
Um, Lipedema hurts. Like, and then the thought that who knows when I'll be able to have this surgery? Who knows at what stage I'll be able to have this surgery? Like, it's it's scary because you see a lot of people progress and they get to the point where they can no longer walk and they can no longer, and it's not their fault. But then everybody looks at you like it's your fault, you know?
Mhm.
So it's sad. And then you compile the other illnesses on top of that. Today I had to like work myself up like, okay, I have a podcast to do. It was scheduled like a month and a half ago. I need to get it done, but I have been in so much pain.
Mhm.
Um, I've been in a flare for the last like week, just because we have a lot of things going on with my family. I lost a
Mhm.
relative.
Oh,
My
sorry.
daughter is across the country running track. So we got a lot of things going on, good and bad.
Yeah,
So the pain this week has just been completely
a
over
lot.
the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so do you have um what if you don't mind sharing, what are your conditions as far as pain
so
conditions?
pain conditions. I
Yeah.
have something called spinal epidural lipomatosis, which
Mhm.
is a fat patch on my spine. So that causes me to have spinal
Okay.
stenosis. I have
Mhm.
arthritis in my spine, in my hips, my neck, and my knees. I just found
Mhm.
out the other day that I have osteopenia, which is like the step before osteoporosis.
Hmm.
Um, so, and
That's a
then
new one for me. I'm like,
lipedema.
a who? Like what?
Right.
That's a
Like I
new one,
have
but
bone
okay.
loss pretty much.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are the pain conditions I have. And then of course lipedema causes pain too.
Mhm. The
But
little
with my
yeah, the
spinal,
nodules.
yes, they hurt. And then it's like when you go give blood, when they stick that needle, I'm like, it feels like somebody is shooting me in my arm.
Mhm.
Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
So when I go, normally
Mhm.
they're like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, in my hand. And they're like, in your hand. I'm like, yes, it hurts less than in my
In
arm.
my hand. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Last week, because I've been having to give blood a lot, the last couple of months actually, um, and just because I have sickle cell, lupus, uh,
Mm,
lipedema, I just said lupus, and fibromyalgia. So I bruise. The
yeah.
wind blows hard. Oh, there goes a bruise. So
Right.
they've been getting blood from the same site pretty much each time. And I've had this honker of a bruise. And I go and get a newbie basically. The girl saw the bruise. She went, "Oh, that's a pretty big bruise." So I'm thinking, clearly, she sees it. She acknowledged it. She's not going to get blood from there. Yeah. She went directly in the middle of the bruise. And then when I
Oh,
screamed, "Oh, that was a lot of scar tissue there." Yeah.
you
You
think?
I was like, and then I'm sitting there about to pass out. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "You better be glad
No.
I know Jesus, cause
Right. No, I'm
I'm
not
like,
okay.
I am farthing from okay. You stabbed me in the middle of a. No, I'm not okay. But I'm just like, and I have
Right.
small rolling veins, so I'm just praying. I'm like, please let her have hit that. Please let her at least gotten the vein. Please,
Right.
you know. So I'm like, yeah, it's just the and it's like, why, why should one person have to carry so much pain, Lord?
Why?
And
Why?
and that's why I was asking about your mental state on a daily basis because I'm sure I am confident that the average person has absolutely no idea what it's
None.
like to walk
None.
around with these types of things going on in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. It's
Yes.
it's not dramatics. It's like it's in your soul.
Yeah,
Like the 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 pain, like not even it's emotional pain. Like just
it
that depth
is.
of loss.
It's like once your pain level gets so high, it's no longer just pain. It's emotions. And like now I'm angry. Now I'm sad. Now I'm that's how I've been feeling all
And
day.
then it's
I'm
like,
like, I don't want to function. I
yeah,
don't want to do it today. Like I just
yeah. Can I call into that? Can I turn today off? Where's the off button
right.
for today?
Where's the off button?
can
Can
we
we
can
just
we try it
skip
tomorrow?
right on to tomorrow?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is a literal and physical fight
It
to get
is.
out of the bed daily. Like we had, like even like spiritually, it's like you have to make the choice to get up and fight daily. But no, like
Exactly.
we literally had to be like, okay, so we have to actually live today.
Right.
Great.
I have to fight to even get out the bed. Like I have to fight just because I got to go to the bathroom. Like that's me fighting. You have no
You
idea.
have to be like, you have to like wait, like how bad do you have to go? Can you
Right.
wait? I think I can.
I think I
Or
can
it's like,
wait.
how much longer can I wait and then still make it
Exactly. That,
without
but
having
see,
to
that's
take
a
a
good
shower?
question. That is the
That's
question.
that's the math you have to do. Like, okay, it's 18 steps. It's gonna take me 3 seconds to sit up. I mean, like those are the questions rolling through our head, and it's
Yes.
like,
Like I open my eyes and it's like, do I want to turn over? Like, do I want to even know what's going to hurt today? Like, do I want to even do that?
yeah. And so, so we, and the for you guys that are listening to this and watching this, you're like, this sounds awful, and it is, and it
It
very
is.
much so is. Um, the reason these are the questions that I'm asking is because, for one, people need to understand. We need people to understand that, for one, we are not lazy.
No.
The farthest thing from it. For two, compassion is a true gift in everyone's life, not just ours, but especially in ours. um
Exactly.
and just giving that extra bit of grace would be appreciated, because the struggle that someone with a chronic illness goes through is immense. Um, and these things that we're discussing here are the very things that, yeah, maybe we should be telling our family and friends, but we know they can't handle it, or they don't want to
Mhm.
handle it, or whatever degree of the other, whichever,
Right.
these are the discussions that should be had. But for whatever reason, it can't be or won't be. But
Yep.
it is still the truth. And it needs to be heard, because even though these are our thoughts, even though these are our experiences, we want you to understand and observe, we're still here. You
We
still
still
showed
get
up.
up and
If you hadn't counseled on
exactly.
me, I would have 100% understood. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, like I was messaging you back and forth thinking it was like Christmas. I don't know what time it is. I mean, I was struggling too, you know. So I mean, it's like, and like we all have these struggles, and like we are dependable people. We're people just like everybody else who wants to meet our obligations and be productive citizens in the world. But we
Right.
also have incredible, incredible burden of pain
Yeah.
that we take that burden of pain, and even though we shouldn't, but we take that at times and turn that into our burden, as in we are a burden and we don't want to tell anybody else
Right. Right.
exactly what's going on. Like for real, for real.
Mhm.
So that's why I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork that, listen, this is what we deal with. So now let's talk about your advocacy and tell us tell us why you do it. Like, you have you have stuff, you got your own problems. You got doctors getting drunk because they having conversations with you. And I mean, you got stuff to do. You got children you gotta take care of. Like, why care about anybody else? Like, why?
I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through.
Mm,
It was so hard getting diagnosed
mhm,
that I'm like, I probably, I don't even have the words to express how angry I was during that time. Like, I'm like, something is wrong and nobody is paying attention to me. My family thinking I'm a hypochondriac. Like, but I'm like, no, I feel it in my body. Something's wrong. So I don't want anybody to ever feel like that. I don't want anybody to
mhm,
ever feel like they don't have anybody to talk to. Like they don't have anybody that understands. Because just to keep it real, if you don't live with chronic pain every day, you could never understand our struggle.
mm-mm,
And a lot of people don't have people to talk to that understand that. I didn't until I met people online. Another thing is because my disease is rare, not a lot of doctors know how to treat it. So my
mhm,
second endocrinologist, which is the one that diagnosed me, she knew how to treat Cushing's disease, but she didn't know how to treat adrenal
mhm,
insufficiency, which came after I had my
mhm.
surgery. So it was the people on
Okay.
Facebook groups telling me, no, you need to take more medication because it's not enough. And
Mhm,
in what was that? December of 2022, 2021, I went into a crisis, an adrenal crisis, which means my
mhm,
body didn't have enough cortisol to sustain itself. And while I'm in the
mhm.
hospital, I was in the hospital for 4 days. While I'm in the hospital, the same doctor is telling me, no, you're fine. You're not in a crisis. And I'm so confused that I'm looking at the doctor like, am I in a crisis? The doctor's like, yeah. But she's telling me through messages that I'm not in a crisis. And I'm still confused because I'm like, am I? And the doctor's like, yes. you know. So at that
So, like,
point,
wait,
I was
which doctor is this the same
my
doctor, or like what's?
yes, my endocrinologist. And I was in the hospital. I got admitted into the hospital. And the
Mhm.
hospital doctor was telling me, yes, you're in crisis, but my endocrinologist was telling me, no, you're fine. It's not that bad.
So, like, I need y'all to talk. Here, talk to her. Like, here, y'all, here,
Right. I'm gonna
just
need
take the
y'all to
phone.
communicate because
I need y'all to talk because I don't know.
exactly
Somebody
I'm
fix it.
confused at this
Jesus
point.
fix it. Take the
So
wheel.
what did I do? I reached out to Facebook because
Of
apparently
course.
the only people that know are the people that's going through it.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, well, I'm changing my doctor. I'm gonna go with this doctor because apparently you don't know what you're talking about.
You trying to kill me?
So
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
exactly, literally. And I'm like, this is like before I went to the hospital, I was vomiting, and all she kept telling me was just take more medicine, take more steroids. And I'm like, this lady is really trying to kill me. But yeah, I don't want anybody to have to go through those things and then go through them alone. So I take my advocacy very serious and I want people to know that they can reach out to me anytime. If you
Mhm.
need something, if you need to talk, if you need to vent, if you just need somebody to understand what your struggle is today, come to me. I'm here. Um, I did this year. I did the Rare Compassion program that was put on by Global Gene, where I got to actually speak with the medical student, and they got to kind of follow me for, was it about 3 or 4 months? And I would talk to her all the time and tell her what was going on, how my day was. And it was just nice to see these future doctors understand and be compassionate and know, be told what to look for when someone has a rare disease and they're coming to them. So that was a huge step in my advocacy that I feel like is just amazing. And I recommend this
It
program.
is.
It's through Global Genes. I recommend this program to any and every chronically ill. It's only for rare diseases. So if you have a rare
Okay.
disease and you want to do this program, go to the Global Genes website. It's called the Rare Compassion Program, and it is amazing.
Hmm.
Um,
So, because
so
it's interesting. It was a an intern that actually diagnosed me. Because I
wow,
my doctor, my general practice doctor, who was a specialist in fibromyalgia, decided he wanted to go live his best life and he wanted to retire. I'm like, why are you leaving me? Like, I've had
right,
him for like 11, 12 years. So I'm like,
wow,
no, I refuse to let you leave. But, so he's like, well, sorry, I'm leaving. I'm going to Florida. You want to come? I'm like, no,
right,
I'm not going to Florida. You're crazy. Absolutely not.
no,
So, I would say it. And it, God, thank God for Jesus, because I'm go looking for new doctors, and it literally just kind of fell to where I didn't have any other choice but to go to a clinic, and I was being, snobbish. Like, I don't want to go to no clinic. I need
right,
a doctor, you know. But I needed medicine. I needed prescription refills, so I went in there, and it's, it's ran by, one primary doctor, but there's also, interns that do rotations.
hmm,
And I had been looking for black female doctors because I've been looking to make that change in my medical team. Girl went in there, that's all that was in there. I'm like, I'm like, this is where the unicorns are.
wow,
So it was
right,
a black female doctor that, so that, and she just kind of looked at me, and the office, the appointment was like an hour and 45 minutes. I'm like, well, who does that? So I'm like, so it's just listening to you saying how, like, a
wow,
medical student, was able to follow you around, and then, like, so I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I'm like, I'm like, I wonder if they went through that same program, because,
right,
they were younger, they had more recent information, you know, and I recommend it. I mean, I recommend that if you aren't getting the treatment that you need from your doctor in any area, whether it's compassion, understanding, treatment, medication, whatever. Make the change. Like,
make it.
change. Like, do
It
it,
is okay to fire
expeditiously.
your doctor.
You know,
it
it is
is
100%.
it is
Like,
okay to
they
get a
work for
second,
you
third, and fourth opinion.
if so needed. I mean, yeah. That whole thing about, loyalty. This loyal what? Anyway, I'm trying to get healthy. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get back,
Exactly.
get my life back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, um, that's amazing. Definitely gonna get all that information to tag, and put into the description at the end. Um, but okay, so, like, and as far as your advocacy, and I definitely understand the why, because that's why I do what I do, because I was the same way with
Right.
fibromyalgia. My doctor pretty much said, "Well, you won't die from it, so see you in 3 months."
Right.
Okay,
Right. Like thanks.
thanks, sir. Yep, you're gonna be in pain 24/7, but it won't kill you.
You'll be fine.
like,
Ooh,
like, where's the camera? I know, I know, I gotta be on
exactly.
some kind of TV show because, huh? So yeah, there was no information, and there were definitely
Yeah,
no black women, black people anywhere. Like there was none. And I was like I said, I wanted to be the person that I didn't find. And so
yes,
we need to be there needs to be as many of us possible speaking up, and I understand, like, that whole generational thing of, keep your business in the house. Well, no. That's back then because we
exactly,
need that's not benefiting anybody. you know, more so it's not benefiting you,
exactly.
because the more connection and community that we can get, the better, because the depression is real.
Oh
Like,
my goodness, it
it comes in like a
understatement.
flood, and it's sneaky as all get out.
It
Like,
really is.
so don't don't isolate yourself. Don't don't take the gaslighting. Like, how do you combat the gaslighting, or have you been gaslit? Like,
I
how does that
have
play into your life?
all it happens all the time. Like even with my back pain. So I saw two spine surgeons, and both of them like, "Oh, you'll be fine. It's I don't know what's causing your pain." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Like sometimes I do get to the point where I just shut down. And I'm like, I had an appointment. That second spine surgeon that I went to see, my husband was with me. And she's like, "Well, I know you saw this doctor. And if he said this, then, we don't see anything wrong." And I just shut down. And the whole appointment, my husband was talking to the doctor. And we have those moments, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But what I did was
Yeah.
told my orthopedic doctor, I'm like, "Hey, something's wrong. They're not listening to me. What do you think?" And he says, "Well, even skinny people have this issue. So I know it's not because you're overweight. I want you to see this spine surgeon and he'll help you." So I went to see that. It took me 2 months to get into him, but I finally got to see him. And he's like, "Well, you do need surgery to remove it. And plus, I think you might have a little bit of bone loss. So I'm going to send you to get a
Mhm.
DEXA scan and we'll see about that." Nobody else was worried about my bone loss. Out of all the MRIs and all of the scans that I had, nobody else said, "Well, you got bone loss, so let's figure out how to treat that."
Wow.
So sometimes we get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm tired. Medical burnout is what they call it. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to go see another doctor. I don't want to go see another scan, another MRI. I don't want to do it. But guess what?
Mhm.
We got to get up and we got to push ourselves through those times. And that is what
Exactly.
advocacy is about. Not that
It
we
is.
don't get tired, not that we don't get, gaslit, turned away, lied to, but you got to get back up and get back on that horse and continue to figure out what's going on because nobody's going to care about you more than you.
Mhm. Exactly. And that's the thing. I think I've learned more about self advocacy from advocating from others, you know, than I have, in a long time. Like, because I, realize that in order to advocate for others, I indeed have to use those same tactics for myself, and
Exactly.
understanding that I have the right to do so. That I have the right to, like you said, fire your doctor. I have the right to ask for certain tests. They may not, either either from not knowing that they could do a test, or just not wanting to be bothered to do a test.
Hmm.
I've had I had my hematologist straight up tell me that, like, because I am 44 years old, and I was just diagnosed with sickle cell December of last year.
Wow.
I'm like,
Wow.
what? Yeah, okay. So then I get the diagnosis, and of course, of course, it's got to be a rare type of sickle cell. Of course, can't be the regular kind. You know,
Yeah. That's
um,
too easy.
of course, obviously. And so they're like, well, um, they said it's not worth the fight with the insurance company to get them to approve the test that we need to type the form of sickle cell you have.
Huh?
I'm like, so what I'm hearing is that there is a fight to be had. You
You
just
just
don't
don't
want to
want to
do
do it.
it. Did I hear that right? And they're
Yep.
like, oh well, that's not. I said, no, I'm just saying, yes or no. I'm like, yes or no. Like, I don't want to hear I don't want the backpedaling. Just answer my question. You know,
Exactly.
I'm like, so needless to say, they did my test. I'm just like,
Right.
well, you're already. But then here comes the excuses. Well, you're already anemic, and it's going. Well, okay. Well, if you would give me an infusion, I will. I will have the blood volume for the test, won't I?
Exactly.
Problem solved.
Problem
But
solved.
yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have the blood volume for the 12 vials of blood. Well, I mean, but
Well, how about you solve one
you
problem?
have to stay on their necks. Cause I mean, I think probably they
Yes.
get tired. The doctors probably get tired of seeing you too. I'm like, there she
Um.
go again. I'm like, you know,
Well, if you
but
just fix it, then I won't be here
it.
no more.
Thank you. It's simple to us. To us, it seems simple
So
math.
simple.
You do your job, I go away. you know, but you have to you have to find that strength. And it's like, and but until you are able to find that strength. That's what, me and Jewel and many other advocates are out there for. That's what we're out there for. We're there to talk you through it, to cry with you through it. If you need us to call people for you, like, there's different organizations that does some of the work for you. It's all a matter of finding which advocate and which organization is best for you.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your coping mechanisms and your self care. Like, what do you do to just get you through a day? Like, when you're done with this podcast, what are you gonna do to try make yourself feel better?
So I rest. Rest is key. I try to listen to
Mhm.
my body when it's tired. I lay down.
Mhm.
I do
Okay.
love art.
Okay.
So I am a creative. I like to paint. I like to create. I am opening up a business for um, chronic disease apparel, chronic illness apparel. So I love to create.
Okay.
I design. I design my
Sweet.
own shirts. I design my own stickers. So that's what I do, and it's fun for me. Um, I also
Okay.
love talking to my community.
Mhm.
Um, when I'm just over it, I go to them because the same way I
Yeah.
help them, they help me.
Yeah.
Um,
You go to your tribe. You go to your people,
yeah,
and just kind of
yeah.
just yep commune. So, how
Also, I
was
love
it difficult?
so my hospital has a fitness center and they have a
Oh,
therapy pool. So it's a
oh
warm
my
pool. And
God.
I
Oh,
go
aquapool. I
there,
love it.
love it. I go there
I
and I
love
just,
aquatherapy. I
yes.
love it.
And
The
sometimes, like, I
best.
don't always get to get out there because sometimes I just can't make the
I hear
drive.
it.
But it is the best thing ever. If you have
Mhm.
not tried aquatic therapy, do it. If you have not gotten into a warm
Please,
pool, do
please,
it.
please, please.
Yes.
Yes.
So that those are
It
the
is
ways
at
that I
it is yeah, and it
go ahead.
actually that helps with the at least for like for me, that helps with the swelling.
It
Like,
does.
that helps with the lymphatic draining. So that helps a lot. And you just feel so much better when you're in the pool. You get yourself
Yes.
get next to one of them jets. It's heaven.
Just relax.
So yeah.
Just relax
Mhm.
and not have a care in the world for about an hour.
Egg that
And
part. That part.
actually, I have very, very little pain when I'm in the pool. It takes away a lot of that
Mhm.
pressure in my back, that pain in your legs from the lipedema, all of that goes away. It's like you're
Mhm.
weightless. So,
It kind of makes you feel like you're actually back to being normal.
yes,
And
yes.
I I'm with you. Mhm. It yeah, 'cause I know if I cause usually I would end up going because I was just telling my mom, I was like, I'm getting the feeling they're probably gonna end up sending me back to therapy here pretty soon. I'm like, I'm down for it. I'll be going in the wintertime. She's like, how you be going to the pool in the wintertime? Oh, because it's amazing. It's
Exactly.
amazing.
It's
I will.
indoors. You ain't coming outside.
It is. And then they have
Yeah.
like they have the little shoe like a shoe heater inside the little
Oh,
waiting not
wow.
the waiting room but the changing room, so that like makes the whole
Hmm.
room warm, so even when you get out it's still warm.
Mm,
Girl, please, I
yes.
would move there. I would move there.
Yes.
So 100%. So I know you mentioned rest, and I don't know if you're like me, but I always like to be busy, and I tend to feel guilty usually because I'm made to be feel guilty for resting. So how do you have do you or did you have an issue with allowing yourself to rest?
In the beginning, yes. Um, I would be wanting to
Mm,
do stuff, move, cook, do everything, do all the things. And then I
of
would
course.
flare up, and then I would be stuck in a bed for 3 days because I can't get out. And then I would get up and do all the things again. And then, so I have a great support system. Let me start there. My husband and my children
Okay.
are amazing. Okay. So
Hmm.
now I don't do that as much. I very seldom, unless I have a doctor's appointment, leave my room. I have it
Okay.
set up to where I can do everything I need to do, mostly from my room. Sometimes I do like to go downstairs and sit in my office and work just because I have a bigger screen. But
Hmm.
yeah, I very seldom leave my room. And when my body says stop, I have to stop because if I don't, then my body's going to make me stop.
Hmm. And we don't want that,
So,
because when
exactly.
it makes you,
It's not nice.
yeah.
That's kind of where I
Talk
am
about
now.
the
Just
importance of talk about the importance of having the support system, because we haven't really talked about that.
let me tell you, when I first had my surgery, I could barely walk, I could barely move, I could barely think. Everything hurt. And I was wondering, I'm like, how do single women do this? How do you function after with all this pain, with all this? And I'm like, I just thank God for my support system. My husband and my children, they do everything for me. Like it's very I know a lot of some people don't have a support system. And
Hmm.
that's what us online are for. I have a lot of friends online that I have never met in my life. I have some that I just met this year, and that was
Hmm.
amazing. But to have some type of support system is is what's the word? Brain fog going on right now. Important.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
very important.
it is.
You
I mean,
you
and
need
it is.
people you need people to lean on. You need people to talk to. Um, For in my case, my husband brings my food upstairs. He gets me ice water. He whatever I need. Him and my children are always there to help. So I just got lucky that he actually works from home since the pandemic. So he's here waiting on me, hand and foot, all day. It, and to be honest, I do feel guilty about it sometimes. I feel like that burden. I feel like, man, I should be able to do this for myself.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
know
I
he loves
mean,
me.
I get that.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I know they love me and I know they do it because they want to, not because they have to. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah. See, and I think that's the key part is that because like and you're right, like a lot of people don't have that that confidence that I feel guilty because I know that they're doing this because they're choosing to, and
right.
that they love me so much that they don't want me to be in any more pain than I already am. And you're right, that was a huge blessing. Um, so I just think also people should take away the fact that even if you are in the other category where maybe you don't have that readily available, doesn't mean you can't build that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you can't, source it. Reach out to support groups, organizations. Reach out to Jewel, myself. We can maybe hook you up with people in your area. We can, do some digging. You know, don't don't just don't just accept what you have if it
Yeah.
and especially if what you have isn't sufficient to make your life livable, because we
Yeah.
go through enough. We go through enough. The resources are out there. It's just a matter of getting them to the people that need it. um
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I wanted you to testify about the importance of that support system so that it can kind of be drilled home that it's needed. Like, regardless if
Yeah.
it's a husband or a parent, a child, a cousin, a auntie, a neighbor, you need that non-judgmental, non-nagging, gentle, caring soul that will not make you feel any kind of way for giving you the help you need, because it's help you need.
Mhm.
Not because you are wrong in any way, or that there's anything like inherently wrong with you. It's just that you have physical differences.
Exactly.
And gosh darn it, you need help. That's just
Exactly.
it. Gosh darn it, you just need help. You know? And there's nothing wrong with that. So don't just accept the status quo. And for all means, if you are in another category where you may be taking some BS from some people, don't take that
Mhm.
either. You can
Let me tell
fire that
you
too.
exactly. When after I got sick and people didn't want to be there and cut them off. I don't have time for negativity. Cut it off. I don't
Because
have
that
time
will breed
for
pain.
yes,
That will increase your pain.
stress. Stress increases your pain. Cut it off.
You don't need it. Like it is a literal danger to your health.
Yes.
Like, so yes. You're worth it. You deserve to
Yes.
live in peace. So give us some closing words. Just anything that you would like to, some words of encouragement to either people, anybody who are newly diagnosed or maybe seeking out that diagnosis. give us just some like last words of encouragement, or anything you want to tell the people.
Keep going, keep pushing, keep trying. Like I said, nobody's going to care about you more than you. So if you are trying to get a diagnosis, keep going. If you have to get a second, third, and fourth opinion, we know our bodies better than they do. So keep pushing. I am also very, very big on community. Find you a community. If it's not mine or if it's not Butterflies here, Toya, um,
Hmm.
find you a community that works for you. Find you a community of like minded people that you can talk to because that is very, very important to our mental state. Although our physical bodies go through so much, we can still be mentally in a different place.
Hmm.
For me, I am in pain, but guess what? I'm happy. I get to do what I love to do. I get to talk to people. I get to, minister to people. I
Hmm.
get to help people heal. And if I never do another thing in this world, I feel like I've accomplished my mission.
Mm.
Because even if it's just that one person who gets a diagnosis, who gets seen, who gets help, I've done my job. So find you a community, find you like minded people, people that are going to understand you, people that are going to love you for who you are in the state that you're in. And that's all I got.
That's enough. That's perfect. I There's nothing else to say. So from me to Jewel, that's the show. I will have all of the information to reach out to Jewel in our description. You can also catch it on my website, and on my socials. Bye, butterflies.